All right, welcome to Youngry Nation. Navjeezy here, and I'm here with Danny Fleyshman. All right, sounds great. And Danny, what brings you to the Crowd Invest Summit?
Just spoke on a panel. It was a pitch panel, so they were asking us to judge the companies, and then one would win. And Ash was actually the host of the panel.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And we picked a really good company, blew everybody else out of the water. It was a fantasy sports company. Some of us are actually talking about investing in it, so he did really good because he wins the competition, and some of us just had lunch with him to invest in it. So.
Oh, that's great. It's a win-win for him. Right. That's great. So what is your favorite thing about crowd investments, crowdfunding?
So I think it was something that should have happened years ago. And what it does is it allows tens of millions of people that couldn't invest into a deal that I get pitched every day. I get 50, 100 emails a day offering me the deals before everybody else sees it. So you don't hear about an Uber or Twitter until 2 or 3 years after a bunch of guys in Silicon Valley have already seen it along the way.
Right.
Now, through this Kickstarter style crowdfunding, people can be in Wichita, Kansas, and be able to spend $5 or $10 grand. They don't invest $100,000. They can buy $1,000, $2,000, $5 grand, and really have a piece of equity in the upside, which never wasn't allowed. You had to be an accredited investor. You have to go through blue sky laws. You had to go through so many things to be even allowed to invest in something. Even if you did hear about it, you weren't legally allowed to invest in it unless you were making X amount of dollars per year and you had X amount of equity.
Yeah, definitely. I like that it gets the information out there for people and they can just start investing now instead of having to wait. That's great. So I saw that Danny is actually one of the youngest owners of a company to go public, and that was at age 23, right? So it sounds like you were pretty youngry around that age. So can you tell us a little bit about your experiences being young and hungry?
Yeah, so I actually started my company in high school.
Wow.
I was 17 years old. I started trademarking the catchphrase, "Who's your daddy?"
Oh, okay.
For 300 products. 18 years old, started selling to retail stores. And we got into thousands of retail stores. We got this big licensing deal when we were 19 years old for $9.5 million with Starter Apparel. And 23 was when we went public and launched the energy drink. And I didn't sleep for 2 years, and I just went and knocked on every door and got our drinks into 55,000 retail stores. Yeah, so the Youngry, that was me. I lived it. That was like, and that's why I angel invest now, and why I'm so passionate to help other startups. It's because it's so important when you're young. That's the best time to gamble, as I say. Like, if I was 23 and I would have crashed and failed, I could have gone and slept on my mom's couch and like had a room and had food. Like, I could have gone through it.
Yeah.
When you're 38 and you have a wife and a kid, it's much different.
Yeah.
And so I always look at the young market and think these are the times that you should go out there and really go for it. These are the times you should really take that chance fresh out of college or during college and really work on that startup idea you want to do. Because if you crash and burn when you're 24, it's just much different than when you're 34, 44, 54. Not that the older generation shouldn't start, because now it's easier than ever to start a company.
Right.
Literally, you can start a company with lunch money, like to put together website, social media, marketing, everything you want to do, corporation, trademark, everything's so cheap and free that a 68-year-old can do it. However, it's a much different experience when you're 24 and hungry and ready to go for it.
Right. Yeah. You have all that energy. You know. Yeah. That's great.
And less responsibility.
Less responsibility. Exactly. Yeah. Is there something that you would have told your younger self? You know, just for all the young entrepreneurs out there.
So signing paperwork with everybody, even like your mother, brother, best friend from school. It's not that you're worried that your mom's going to sue you. It's not worried that your best friend and you're going to battle. It makes very clear points of what you both expect. If you and I were BFFs in high school, and then we're 19 years old, we're like, you know what, let's start a clothing line company together. But then you get a scholarship to go to Yale, and you just have to go leave. Well, you might still think we own 50-50 on this company, even though I work for the next 4 years on the clothing company, and we do $9 million in sales, and you're off at Yale, and I'm working full time. Well, it's awkward.
Fair,
it's awkward, right? Just having simple paperwork doesn't have to be extensive and fancy lawyers. Like a one-pager that says, hey, we did own 50%, you're going to Yale, now you should own 10% as an advisory role because you're only going to be able to do X amount of work. I'll run the company, blah, 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 blah. By not having that conversation, by not having that paperwork, you rightfully assume that we just still own 50-50, and I'm supposed to go work on this thing for the next 4 years while you're off.
Yeah.
So
I can see how that would be a little awkward.
So that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Having the responsibilities of what you're going to do and what I'm going to do, even if we're both not going off to Yale, we're both working every day. If you're still going to keep a full-time job and I'm going to work full-time on the company, my equity should be different.
Right.
If you're the one that invented an idea and you brought me on later, my equity should be different. Whatever that number is, and whatever that deal structure is, and whatever the expectations are of each other, that needs to be on a piece of paper, even if it's not some big fancy document. It's just in crayon, hey, I'm going to work 30 hours a week on this company. I'm going to do the marketing, and you're going to do the sales.
Just have something written. Yeah.
Having those expectations just removes the emotions. It removes the fact that I'm boyfriend, girlfriend with you, or you're my sister, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It removes that by keeping it business in that sense, because you have to.
Wow.
Emotions run wild when you're dating somebody and you want to start a company together, or that's your mom or your sister. Like, you have to prevent that. By preventing it, by having that piece of paper that just says, you do this, I do this, this is what we have.
Right, yeah, and I could see like how people look that over sometimes because you get so excited to work with like your friends and your family, but it's like you really do. I could see the importance of like making sure you have something written down. Wow, that's great. So your first company you said was, were you in the tech world or was it?
So I trademarked catchphrase for a clothing line and then the energy drink.
Catchphrase, and then the energy drink. So did you ever get into the tech world though, or have you invested in any deals?
I have in the last few years.
Okay.
That's when tech became easy.
Yeah.
So many years, there's so many people making 6 figures a year to be the tech guys, the wizards.
Right.
Because we didn't know how to build websites. And they could charge $10, $20, $30, $40,000 to build a website. Well, now I can build a website on WordPress.com in 38 minutes for free. And so now it became more interesting to me the last few years that there's so many free platforms. There's so many cheap and effective ways to do things. And technology, for even to run and start a company, you can use Slack and everybody can talk to each other instantaneously and watch the workflow where you don't need to do 2-hour conference calls and fly in for meetings, because I have Skype and I can just talk with them via Skype, and they can be overseas in the Czech Republic and I can work with them. I don't have to fly to the Czech Republic, I just talk to them on Skype.
Yeah.
So many things just became so much easier the last few years, and social media made things fast forward. So now is when I'm open to all these tech investments and apps, because 4 years ago there was no Instagram marketing, there was no easy way to do things, you know what I mean? Now it's just a different platform.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The tech advancements have definitely helped out with marketing, especially. As far as marketing and branding, when you were first starting out, did you hire somebody to do all of that for you, or like what do you suggest?
I lived and breathed it.
You lived and breathed it. You did it all yourself.
I just try to work every deal to be a break even, or not really have to spend much.
Yeah.
So, for example, the Utah State Fair, it's called the Coca-Cola State Fair, for 16 years.
Wow.
And then I came out, a little energy drink that could, and I convinced the Utah State Fair to change their name away from this $1 billion company to the Who's Your Daddy Energy Drink State Fair.
Wow, how'd you do
Billboards
that?
all over the city, all over the state actually.
Wow.
Energy drink billboards with a corn dog on it. It was very cheesy. And this 10-day state fair became under us. And that cost $1.5 million to sponsor.
Wow.
How much did I spend?
Nothing.
How did I do that?
Yeah, how did you do that?
I made the grocery store chain called Smith's, which is the biggest chain out there, buy $2.5 million worth of drinks, so I net 1.5. That makes me break even.
Right.
The Utah State Fair gave away $5 discount codes, tickets, if you went to the Smith's grocery store and bought an energy drink can.
Oh, wow.
So you go spend $2, you can get $5 discounts, but you can buy a whole case and get a whole block of them. So you spend $24 and get like $150, $200 worth of discounts. Everybody did it.
Yeah.
We ended up doing way more than the 2.5 in sales with Smith's. The state fair was happy. Smith's was ecstatic because all these humans are walking to their stores.
Yeah.
I'm happy because I spent nothing and actually started making money from my sponsorship.
Totally. It was like a win-win situation.
Right. And on top of all of that, Budweiser was my distributor in Utah, and I had all 9 Budweiser distributors there. And they were ecstatic because now there's energy drink billboards all over town, all over the state, and it made it easier for them to sell to every other chain in the area because our name was absolutely everywhere. And It saved them zillions of dollars. It saved them explaining who we were because we were everywhere. We couldn't afford to be everywhere because we were tiny compared to everybody else.
Right.
And this was
You made it work, though.
made it work.
Yeah, that's great.
Creative work. Yeah.
As far as a startup approaching an investor, asking for them to invest in them, how would you say is like the best way to find investors and how to ask for money?
So it's never been easier.
Right.
We have LinkedIn, Twitter. Those are the best ones because on Twitter we see no investor besides Mark Cuban, even he responds to everybody. No investors really have millions and millions of followers. Like Gary Vaynerchuk, Mark Cuban, Chris Sacca, they have big followings. But they're obsessed with Twitter, so they're responding to everybody. And everybody else, and every other angel investor, and every other venture capitalist, and every other hedge fund manager, and every other guy with a lot of money, they have like 4,000 followers, and 86,000 followers, and 33,000 followers. So if you tweet at them, they're going to notice, they're going to see it, because it's just direct. LinkedIn is a fantastic tool. We get a little bit too bombarded on LinkedIn, but it's still something you should use. And most of the time, you just find out on their website they have their email. Mark Cuban's email is his name at blah blah blah. Like it's really simple because he wants people to actually email him. So getting out there now, again, 4 years ago, it's so difficult. You would have to like
knock on doors,
hunt them down, find a friend of a friend to introduce you. A friendly introduction is still always going to be your best because you're getting a stamp of credibility.
Right.
So if you and I have been friends for 10 years and you tell me about this company called Youngry and they're raising $250,000, I listen to it much different than the CEO that I don't know direct messaging me. That's a longer conversation, which I'm still open to, but it's different than my friends saying, hey, you should meet the company. So I just think it's too easy now to contact people because you have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat. You have so many ways, so many social media platforms. And almost all angel investors and VCs and just guys or girls with money are accessible through those platforms. But you gotta have a good product, a good business plan. Don't waste their time. Like when you get the response, you gotta be able to show up. Like, don't tie your shoelaces afterwards. Be ready. You know what I mean?
Be ready,
Have your shoes on, tied up, buttoned up, ready to go. Have your business plan ready. Have your website done. These things don't cost money. I get pitched every day 50 to 100 emails a day, just direct messages on everything I just said. And I so often say yes because that's me saying no. Why that is I say yes, send me your business plan, send me your deck, send me your financials, and let's talk on Monday. I barely hear from them ever again. Because I made them do something.
Right, and so it maybe instilled a little bit of fear in the ones that felt like they weren't ready or something.
They're not ready.
They're not ready,
They don't have a corporation, they don't have a trademark, they don't have a website, they don't have a bank account. If I said yes, and they don't have investment documents and a bank account,
it kind of helps you.
I literally couldn't get, I could not give them a check.
Wow, that's
And I would say 97 out of 100 don't even have a bank account.
Wow.
These are all things that are free and easy to set up. They just won't do it. They want somebody else to just cut them a check for $1 million and figure it out.
Without them being ready.
So many times I just tell them what to go do, and it's just rare that anybody actually goes and does it. So put in the work.
Yes, put in the work. Yeah, so I guess it's safe to say then to just like go in through your own network, just so you can see if maybe your friends or somebody's an investor, and then use Twitter and all those other things to find investors.
When you're pitching, you want to do as much as you can ahead of time to remove the risk from them. If you just have an idea for a new cup company, a new cup holder, and you don't know if it's going to sell well, you just have this imaginary dream that the cup holders are going to sell well. But you don't go and do the research that there's 17 other cup holder companies that are doing X amount of sales and blah, 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 blah. And you don't find out that a cup holder actually costs $1.08 to make and you're only going to sell for $1.43, so the margin's too low and you shouldn't get in that space. By not going and doing that free research on Google ahead of time and not going and seeing if you even like the market of cup holders, and not even going to seeing if you spend the time to make the business plan and make the website and make all those things that are free. If you don't go do those things, it's not fair for you to go ask your uncle to invest in your company or your grandmother to give you $25K. It's not right. It's not fair. Because you haven't put in the work yet, and that work is free.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, it's like follow your dreams and make sure you're putting in that initial work, and then people will, be able to invest in you, and it's like a true investment. Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you wanted to say to the crowd, or?
Yeah, if you guys want, my book is for free. You guys can go on there, go to buythisbook.com, just put in the code ELEVATOR, and you can have the book for free. It's how to set up your business for under $1,000. So everybody watching can have the book for free. Just put in the code ELEVATOR.
Yeah, I also saw an article. It was like how to make 9.5 million before you're 20 years old. So definitely look him up and check out all the new stuff that he has coming out. That's a free book. I mean, you can pass that up, right? All right, well, thank you so much. Thanks for coming through, and stay Youngry, guys.